Hello. We've just come through one of the worst droughts in recorded history in the UK, and with climate change, it's set to get worse. So here's 5 of my favourite flowering plants that will take pretty much any drought you can throw at it and will not need watering once they're established in your garden. So let's take a look. The first plant I want to talk about is Agapanthus. They come from South Africa. They've got very thick, fleshy white roots, which actually can be quite toxic if on your skin and cause rashes. So do please be careful if you're ever dividing these. They're also known as a lily of the Nile, and they range massively in size, hardiness, colour. This one is a nice variety called Queen Mum. It gets big flowers. They can get the size, almost the size of a football, but as you can see, they're not that big this year. And that's because we've had a dry year. If I was to water and feed this, the flowers will be much bigger. Now, as you can see, it's planted against this wall underneath this banana, which is flowering. And I put it there because this Agapanthus isn't actually that hardy. So the trick to spotting a hardy variety of Agapanthus is, if it's got big leaves, big flowers, and it's pretty much evergreen, then you know you've got a tender Agapanthus, or maybe only hardy to -5 to -10. But it does fine here against this wall as it adds a little bit of a microclimate. This one is called Agapanthus sea coral. And as you can see, it's got a lot thinner leaves, much thinner than the other one, which are like thick tape almost. Much smaller flowers. Still a really great plant. It's called sea coral because there's meant to be a touch of pink in those white flowers. Now, perhaps there would be if it's in full sun, but this one only gets sun for a few hours in the morning. But this one is very hardy and it flowers reliable even in part shade. So make sure you choose the right Agapanthus for the right spot. They also come in dark blue, purple. So there's plenty of choices to choose from. But remember, if you come from a cold area, go for the smaller flowered deciduous Agapanthus, and they should be pretty hardy. This is one of my favourite drought tolerant perennials, and it's called butterfly weed, quite familiar to some Americans. It comes from dry mesic prairies in North America. You very rarely see it in the UK. Now, it does struggle on clay soils, and my soil is clay, but I'm on a hill, and it's just about doing okay. But I've grown this in designs on sandy soils in the UK, and it does very well. The butterflies love it. The butterfly which actually feeds on the leaves, the caterpillars, doesn't exist in this country, the monarch butterfly, but the flowers itself are still pretty good for pollinators. And above it is a sea holly called Big Blue. Now it's gone over, so it's lost that lovely deep blue colour to the flowers, but I have mentioned this in a video last year. It's absolutely excellent for pollinators. I'll probably chop this back soon. It's a member of the carrot family, or Apiaceae family, which means it has a big taproot, and that's a clue to how it manages to survive long periods of drought. Again, it's a plant which will prefer nice sandy soils, but I can only grow it on my clay soil because we're on a slope. Really good performer. Unlike some of the other sea hollies, this has much bigger flowers, and when they are in full bloom, much darker blue. Just here we've got a really unusual type of Nyphophia called Nyphophia northii. Basically, it's a giant red hot poker that looks like a aloe. It's pretty tough. I've had no problems with it in Nottingham in the UK, and it has very fat poker-like flowers in spring. All the red hot pokers are excellent in drought conditions, coming from South Africa, and will do well in free draining soils. This one is called Mango Popsicle. There's loads of different pokers. Some are pure red, some are pure orange, some of the classic sort of red, white and green, and they all flower at different times. But Mango Popsicle is a great one because it will actually repeat flower. And it will, this is just a little one, but it will form a big clump and repeat flower for months, whereas lots of them only flower once. This is number 5, the last one. And this is Bescorneria yuccoides quicksilver. It looks a bit like a yucca, but its leaves are actually lovely and soft. Now you'll look this up and you'll notice that it says it's only hardy to -10 Celsius, but it's sailed through -15 here. It's growing on unimproved clay, on a slope, does very well, and it will throw up a huge electric pink spike with greeny bell-like flowers on it. So similar to a yucca, but with a pink, bright electric pink stem. When it flowers, that rosette will die, and there was one in the middle here which has died, but now, as you can see, there's 4 babies, so it just continues. It's an excellent plant, definitely worth a try. If you're in the UK or you've got a similar climate where you don't get too cold in the winter. These are from Mexico, and believe it or not, a member of the lily family. That was just a quickie, just 5 of some of my favourite plants for a drought-tolerant garden. A little caveat, they've got to be established. So that means they've got to be fully rooted and established in the soil, and then they won't need watering in times of drought. They're really tough plants. Obviously, if you've only planted it this year and it's not managed to get its roots out, then it can't be drought tolerant. Also, these plants, maybe with the exception of the Bescorneria, they're not going to be drought tolerant in a pot. So they can only get the water that's available to them. And a lot of their survival strategy is either a long tap root or extensive roots. And if you're not watering them in a pot, they will just dry out like any other plant. So if you like, their drought strategy is to have extensive roots. So it's not going to work for you in a pot. You'll still have to water them. Anyway, hope that's helpful. And ciao for now. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.